United Nations, IPCC, had defined this as the decisive decade. Not just the decade for analysis and reports, although they are important. Not just the decade to study and marvel at the problem, although a more granular understanding of what we're up against helps, but the decade to make decisions, to put steel in the ground, to take those votes in the Senate and in the House and get legislation to the president's desk. The decade to get going in a way that we have failed to do consistently at the scale and speed that we need to for a very long time. I think one of the things that I always want to lift up is the importance of not letting the enormity of the challenge slow us down. It's got to spur us to take more action. And the good news, and maybe I'll just close it out here and get into it, is this is a moment where all of the effort that folks like you have put in, whether it was the thought leadership, whether it was, work organizing political will, whether it was helping form companies or helping shape policy making, or I think in the case of some of you, just getting ready to do some of those things, that's making a difference. And in addition to what we've already done, think about what we are about to do. We passed the largest infrastructure bill in decades, and climate's at the center. 50 billion for resilience, 15 billion for the grid, 25 billion for clean energy demonstrations. And then a year later, we passed the Inflation Reduction Act, $370 billion of investment. And set aside the nominal value, we're talking about 1 gigaton of emissions reductions. So, for decades, you're right, for decades, there's been a lot of discussion, but not enough action. But we are in a different moment. We're in a moment where I think optimism is justified, action is necessary, and we're starting to see the results. And it's not just results on climate and clean energy. Our aspirations can be bigger than that. This is an opportunity for us to attack environmental injustices that have festered in our communities for decades. It can be an opportunity to lift up workers and communities that have been looked over and left behind. So, I come to this conversation and to this moment with just such a profound sense of optimism, a profound sense of urgency, and the recognition that we know exactly what we need to do, and we're starting to do it. And I'm hoping by the end of this conversation, more of you are fired up to get after this work as well.